shooters and reloaders and 3 circles passengers and members out there. It's Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone Express, and this is the Washington State, Seattle area reloading cookie shack we're setting up. And this is my first video in my cookie shack. So as you know, we're using these 52-inch Husky rolling tool cabinets as reloading benches. And what really makes it possible is the stuff from Inline Fabrication. Dan, that runs it out of Oregon State, makes some real good products for reloaders. And if you're setting up a reloading room or reloading shed or whatever, and you're doing your bench, the Inline Fabrication products are exceptional. Let me show you what I'm doing. So when it comes to mounting your presses and other types of equipment on your bench, the Inline Fabrication mounting plate is a very versatile way to go. And what you're looking at is the Inline Fabrication flush mount plate. And all of your mounting hardware that is on your presses will go right on this plate through this opening here that locks it in. So this plate is set up so that it goes 1.5 inches over the edge, and that allows your presses to overhang if they need to do that. So if you're going to do that, you can't mount this on the front where the drawers of the rolling cabinet are, or they'll hit your press. However, there are other presses that don't overhang, and those you can actually mount on the side that has the drawers of the rolling cabinet. What I've done is I've mounted this on the back side so that we're free to mount any kind of press on the back side of this press. So here you see the mount in place. Now, if you route out the wood, it'll be an actual flush mount. But I don't want to do that, so it does stick up a little bit off the surface of your bench top, but that's okay. Now, in order for it to work, because you got a tongue that goes underneath in this space, you got to put a little spacer in, and of course Inline Fabrication provides that. I'll show you that in a little while, because we're going to go ahead and mount another one of these plates. So if you swing over here, I'm going to mount another one 9 inches from the side edge right in front of you. So first of all, when you get the mounting plate and the spacer, Dan over there at Inline Fabrication really values your business, so he provides the greatest in service. And part of that is the packaging and wrapping. You see how the plates are very well protected in this styrofoam wrap, plus very well taped together along with all the hardware you need to mount this. So not only is it packaged well individually, but when they ship it, it's shipped in cartons that are very well shielded and protected from any kind of bumping, so that the shipping is part of their exceptional service. So to give you an idea, they even provide you with a cardboard backer for the hardware, and who does that? Now, when you cut these things open, I recommend you use a utility knife, but angle the knife so you don't score your metal parts. Because even though they're nicely powder coated, you can put a scratch on them. And why do that? You're going to scratch them later anyway, but don't want to start out that way. So I recommend you go ahead and find the opening here and just cut these open carefully with a angled blade so you don't cause a problem for your metal parts. You see? By the way, I'm not going to show myself in this video because I am really grungy, having moved a lot of stuff into this shed. And like to say hi to Charles. That reminds me of Charles. I met Charles up in Redding, California when I stopped by to say hi to Doug. And what happened was I hadn't shaved in 4 days. It looked like I had just crawled out of a hole in the side of a birch tree or something. I mean, I was really grungy. So sorry, Charles, you wasn't a very good ambassador for myself then. But wishing you guys a nice holiday season. Anyway, go ahead and open this up. And you see it's very nicely packaged. Even the spacer is a very cool, kind of reminds me of a bandsaw, you know, like a bandsaw. Okay, so here's the flush mount plate. And this thing is gargantuan. It's machined out here to provide a place for the wing nuts, and here's where the tongue goes, so it goes like this. Here's the spacer, and I've gone ahead and set it so that it's going to be 9 inches from the side here. Why 9 inches? Because that way I'll have plenty of room for reloading trays. Then you want to make sure that that cutout instep is right at the edge of the back of the reloading bench, because that's the overhang that's automatically set when you do that. So we get it all squared up like that, and we're ready to drill the holes. Now here is all the hardware you need. So these bolts are going to go through like that. It's already countersunk up here. So now we got to drill the holes. And we'll just use our Ryobi. Now, Ryobi is trash. I mean, look at this. When you work with a Ryobi, I mean, look at that. That's just trash. Took so long to drill that hole. But then again, I mean, was it that slow? Yeah, it was slow. We could have probably done it a lot faster. We just drop one of the bolts through and that sets it. Then we go ahead and check again our alignment. Now this back hole is just inside the steel, and it's okay. I'm going to angle it inward just a little bit. Maybe 2 degrees. Now that, see, that was really trashy performance. Trash. Ryobi. Man. I don't know why I bought the Ryobi. Because, you know, it's just trash. Just simple trash. Now this one we can drill straight up and down. Just like that. Well, we'll just use this blower with a 4 amp hour battery on there just to take care of all this. You would have thought that I would have put the 4 amp hour battery on the drill, right? But what's the big deal? Ryobi's just trash. Well, look how cool this Ryobi light works, putting light over here where I need to see it. You see that? Plenty of light underneath there so I can get that nut on the bolts that are sticking through. Too bad Ryobi's trash. Now I rigged up a pair of vice grip pliers to hold that nut on the other side. Let's see if it works or not. Oh, looks like the vice grip pliers slipped off. Okay, I rectified that by going ahead and putting a little support there to hold the vice grip pliers up where it's wedged against this bolt here. And there it is. That's one bolt tightened. Now we'll repeat and get the other three. So here you see the bolts and the nuts and washers from the underside, and when you get a washer on the bolt in the far corner there where it's hard to get at, a piece of blue tape really helps to keep the washer from falling off the bolt while you're getting the nut to bite on the end of the bolt. Now once that nut's started, then we can use the vice grip pliers to grab that nut and then wedge the pliers against either the side or against another bolt, and then go ahead and tighten that bolt from the top, and we're in business. And there, of course, is the completed installation of the Inline Fabrication flush mount base. And it's just too bad that Ryobi is trash. Incidentally, let's take a little break and show you what else I got in the Midway order today besides the Inline Fabrication stuff. Got 4 full-length sizing dies here from Reading, and we'll do a video on why I did that. But also some nice brass that they had, 204 Ruger Dogtown brass, and then also some 10mm brass. So we'll just put that away for now and go back to the Inline Fabrication treatise, which is what this video is all about. Well, what you see here is my Reading Ultra Mag press mounted on the Inline Fabrication stuff. And what you see is the base, the flush mount base that you just seen. But what we've got here is a nice 4-inch, it's about 4.5-inch riser that Inline Fabrication makes that you can put in here and then go ahead and put the press with the press mounting plate that's removable onto the top of the riser, and you've got an elevated for standing work with this press. Well, let's show you what the assembly of this is like, but I'll do it with what I just got today, which is the Inline Fabrication 7.5-inch riser. So we're going to go ahead and show you that right now. To save time, I've already taken the wrappings off, and that was the same kind of wrapping and shipping that you see in anything that Inline Fabrication ships out. Well, when you get the 7.5-inch riser, it comes in 4 pieces along with the hardware. Now, this steel is about a 1/4 inch thick, and let's begin with the bottom, and that is the lower plate that has the tongue, and the tongue slips right into the base as you see there in the background. It slips into that opening, and there it is. A couple of wing nuts are used to hold this on, and when that's on there, whatever plate, whatever press or whatever you have mounted on this plate, it becomes a very firm assembly for your reloading. So this is the bottom plate, and it has the 2 screws that go through that allow the wing nuts to hold it on. Then you have the side risers, and it's kind of like passing the offering plate, right? Look at that. It's perfect for the congregation to put their offering in and pass to the next person. And then you have the top plate, which then will take the tongue of the plate that the press is on. And look at that, 1/4 inch steel quality powder coating, and it's like, wow. Mike Tyson could knock people out with this, and if he knocks them out with this, they're not getting up. Is that why they call him Iron Mike? Yeah, you gotta watch out for that left hook. Well, no better way to show you than go ahead and put the bottom plate right in the tongue, and then go ahead and assemble the side risers. But first we have to put in the bolts. So we've gone ahead and put a couple of the screws through, and of course they're countersunk from the other side. And then here is half the riser, and it goes right on there like that. Now the open end has to be to the back because there's going to be a tongue going in from the top plate. And if this is on the back, the tongue can't get in there. So now we go ahead and put a couple of the washers on. And the quality of all this metal is so good that you don't even want to put the washer in upside down, because there's a rough side of the washer and a finished side. So you want the finished side to be on the top. And most of the time we don't care. But with the inline fabrication stuff, it's so quality that you just don't want to do a half job on that. So we go ahead and tighten these screws down, as you see, just like that. Well, there you see the other riser. Now we haven't tightened these things down yet, but let's go ahead now and put the top plate on. And the top plate has a top side and a bottom side, and the side that has the countersunk holes for the bolts goes on top. And you simply take the 4 bolts, drop them through, and then washers, and start the nuts from the other side. Now, to give you an idea, Dan gives us these real tough steel screws, and you gotta use a Allen wrench 5/32 to tighten these up. Now there's lock washers on the other side, so once you get the lock washer caught, then all you gotta do is tighten them up. Now I like to use a Husky T-handle hex wrench 5/32, and we'll use this end now to tighten those up. Get those lock washers to catch real well. There you go. And there it is. We'll just go ahead and tighten all 4 of them. Okay, once you have the box and the top and bottom all tightened up, you really can't go wrong. It's all pretty much cut and dried. I put this together without even using any directions. But then again, I had the benefit of doing the 4.5 inch one before, so the 7.5 inches, same idea. So when you put the tongue in the bottom base and then put these wing nuts right here, then you're all set. And then your press goes right on this. So to give you an idea, I now have my Lyman All-American 8 that has the inline fabrication base on it. Got the tongue. Put the tongue right into the top of this base right here like this. Now we attach the wing nuts here, and this press is ready to use. So here's my Lyman All-American 8 installed on the 7.5 inch riser, and you see it's clear of the bench. So if you have any primer drop tubes or anything back here, there's plenty of room. Now I've got the flexibility of taking the 7.5 inch riser off, put the 4.5 inch riser on, same press goes on the 4.5, or remove the 4.5 and the press can go right on the flush mount base for a lower mounting. So I've got my choice instantly, and it only takes about a minute to change these bases out. Very nice, well thought of, very well designed, conceived inline fabrication systems for our reloading rooms. So if you're going to set up a reloading room, inline fabrication, something that you should really give a good thought about, consideration. Now once the wing nuts are installed, nothing budges. Except your rolling bench a little bit, but it's not the mount. We really like this. Here's a little nice touch that Dan provided, and that is there's a little set screw here that if you tighten it up, the tongue won't move and you won't be able to get the plate off. So that's an extra permanence in case you want to set something up for the long term. So to give you an example, what you see here is my coax mounted on a flush mount, and then as we said already, there's my Redding Ultramag on the 4.5-inch riser. Yeah, Ryobi's just trash, you know, just outright trash. Yeah, I don't know why I bother with Ryobi. It's just trash. Ryobi's trash. We'll just see you in the next video. Bye for now.